rocking that official Chicago Steph Head T-shirt.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, Jill Winebanks.
It was a great gift to me that I got to meet these wonderful people who are your absolutely devoted fans. And
yours.
Yes, mine too. But they are also just devoted to democracy and protecting our constitutional foundations. And that was really wonderful to feel the excitement about doing something, taking action.
Charlie Pierce wanted me to tell you they have. Did you know that someone's doing has a tribute pin to you in the British Parliament?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It was one of the judges on this.
You've reached international stardom.
I believe he said it was one of the judges on the Supreme Court of the UK.
Yeah.
And she has a spider pin.
Yeah. A giant spider pin.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Oh, my gosh. Oh, the weave that we do with the evil from the spider.
I hear you, sister. Yeah, all of my legal ladies, all my legal lads, you guys are just, I think that's why so many people just look up to you or are inspired by you because they cannot. It is hard for the layperson to comprehend the level of criminality and corruption that we're witnessing on a daily basis. I love, Mimi Roca just tweeted, Fox News talking about laser fat removal right now, LOL, and you tweeted, that's too tempting to respond with something I'll later regret having said.
Well, you can only imagine what I was thinking when I saw that. Yes, I could remove some couple hundred pounds of fat.
Couple hundred pounds of ugly fat from the Oval Office. Okay, I did it for you. We finished it.
You did it. I didn't.
All
say
right.
it. You did.
I knew I'd drag you down with me. Okay. Jill, we've been saying it all morning, and I'm sure you're feeling it too. There is something different finally, right? I don't know whether it's the last drop in a full glass, but obviously there's this op-ed by moderate Democrats coming forward for impeachment. Pelosi is having, apparently with Pelosi's blessing. I know that she's having a conference call today. Richard Blumenthal has just come out and urged impeachment. I mean, it feels like a dam breaking. Does it to you?
It does, but I'm holding back a little just because I've seen this before, where, starting with the Access Hollywood revelations, I went, well, that's it.
Right.
And look at how outraged people are, and they will see him for what he really is. And then it went away. And there does seem to be a certain group of people within the Republican Party and outside, people who may have voted for Obama, who voted for Trump, who just don't care. They think anything he does is okay. And they will believe him when he says, I did not say that. And, of course, we haven't seen the whistleblower yet. We haven't seen the complaint yet. We haven't heard the tape. Has the tape already been altered?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of experience with White House tape.
Yeah.
And the big question back in the Nixon era was, why didn't he destroy them? And why did he only erase 18 minutes? Well, right now we're only talking about one possible tape, and there seems to be some question as to whether they actually do tape record those conversations.
Wow.
But let's assume they are recorded and that the White House does what Nixon did, which is, well, I'll create the transcript and you can have them. And
Yeah.
he said no. He said, well, I'll let Senator Stennis, who was a Democrat, but was quite elderly, had just been mugged and was recovering and was reported to be near death, I'll let him listen and confirm the transcripts that I
Oh,
write.
wow.
And that's what actually led to the Saturday Night Massacre, was when we said, no, only the actual transcript, the actual tape.
Yeah.
We need to hear them. They can't be evidence if it's something that someone else heard and testifies to. It has to be the actual recording.
Jill, you just sent a chill up my spine because, we've talked about this is like Watergate, times 1,000, Watergate on steroids. I mean, you're right. They are so criminal that you would think they would learn from Nixon and destroy the tape and then say, oh, there wasn't a tape. I mean, we can't trust anything that comes out of this White House or that Bill Barr's involved in, can we? I was saying earlier, Jill, this could be, the Ukraine version of the Barr memo about Mueller's report, right?
Exactly. And what we have to worry about is that we're worried that democracy is at risk because we cannot trust anyone in the White House. Look how many acting people are in place that haven't been confirmed by the Senate and that he won't allow to be confirmed. Look at the scope of his stonewalling. It's something completely completely of a different kind than Richard Nixon ever did. We're not talking about just obstructing an investigation. We're talking about obstructing oversight by Congress. He won't let people from the administration testify about his immigration policies. That's something that is standard practice in a democracy. That's what our Constitution says, checks and balances. Each party, each branch of government has a role to play. And he's saying, nope, I'm the only one that counts, can't have anything else. That's very scary to democracy and is the first step toward something that's not a democratic government.
Right.
So I think we all should be extremely concerned. And people keep asking, what can I do? Well, right now what people can do, of course, is to be informed, know the facts, not just what Donald Trump says the truth is. Read, for example, the editorial that was written by the 7 Democrats, who are all military or intelligence community former people. They aren't career politicians. Many of them are from purple areas where they are risking their election, their re-election, by doing this, but they're saying we are patriots and we see the Constitution and democracy as being at risk, and so we are saying we need to get to the bottom of this.
Travis
we have to have the testimony.
Travis is raising his hand. That means something awful or wonderful has happened.
No, apparently this happened last night, got missed and everything else, but Michael Flynn is going to be invoking his Fifth Amendment rights, so he will not testify before the House Intelligence Committee. His lawyer said that he refuses to be paraded, harassed, and disparaged by Adam Schiff.
Oh.
Oh, God. Well, he must have been promised a pardon. What else could you...
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to go to jail for a very long time, or he will be sentenced to jail for a very long time because of his non-cooperation. And he must have been promised, don't worry about it, I'll get you out.
Okay, but what is the word for pardon dangling? Isn't that part of obstruction?
Oh, I think you got it right. Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
thank you. Oh,
So is that what we can do about this?
Obstruction, yes, it is.
Okay.
But we've known about that possibility for a long time, and it hasn't motivated the Democrats. And I have been saying for a while now that I'm worried that first of all, that doing nothing is a danger to the Constitution, but secondly, that it's also a danger to maintaining the Democratic House and to the chances for the Democratic Senate, because
thank you.
people like me who are just ordinary Democrats. I'm not far left. I'm not, conservative.
Right.
I'm just an ordinary Democrat who believes in all the principles of the Democratic Party, and I'm losing faith that there's a difference between being a Democrat and being a Republican.
I'm there too.
The Democrats don't do something to hold him accountable.
Jill, I just said this yesterday. You and I are Pelosi fans, but at some point, this narrative settles in that the Democrats are weak and feckless, and there's no difference in the parties, and Republicans are crooks, and Democrats are cowards and weaklings, and and you tweeted, everyone must act now, or you are responsible for the loss of democracy. So,
exactly.
and you said time for.
I believe Pelosi is a fantastic politician who really knows how to count votes and do the right thing in most cases. But I think here she's misreading how, yes, I will vote for almost any Democrat, probably any Democrat, over Donald Trump because I think he is such a threat to America. But I really worry that there are a lot of people who won't.
Yeah, it will depress our base.
I
absolutely.
Vote. We can't let that happen. Voting and getting out the vote are probably the two most important things that people can do now. I get tweets from people all the time who say, when I'm standing in the grocery line, I talk to people and try to get the facts to them and urge them if they haven't registered. I tell them how to do it. That's what we all have to be doing.
And call and tweet and text. We've got links up for all that, what you can do.
Yep.
Right.
And now, Jill, let me ask you. So obviously the latest bombshell, Trump ordered Mick Mulvaney to hold back the military aid for Ukraine at least a week before the phone call in which he pressured the Ukrainian president to investigate Biden. Administration officials were instructed to tell lawmakers the delays were, quote, part of an interagency process, but to give them no additional information, a pattern that continued for nearly 2 months. So you tweeted here, let's see. Barbara McQuaid said, while a sitting president cannot be indicted, Giuliani can. It's conspiracy to commit bribery. Trump would return to his familiar role as individual one. And you said, agree, Rudy can be indicted. I think it's time to challenge the OLC opinion. It's opinion, not law, and the Constitution does not make impeachment the only remedy for holding a lawless, corrupt president accountable. So, what is this? Extortion, bribery? What actual legal counts does this involve?
Well, it can be, as you've said, but I think it's clearly an impeachable offense. So, why waste the time at this point? Congress has a duty to act. It has an assigned role under the Constitution, which is impeachment, which is separate and apart from indictment. And right now, no federal prosecutor is going to be empowered or allowed to do what's right in terms of the facts. So let Congress do the right thing. I think at some point, maybe a state prosecutor should bring a case. Maybe it's for obstruction of the laws requiring that he turn over his tax returns. Maybe it's for his foundation, which did terrible things and didn't use its money for charitable purposes. There's a lot of things that a state could go after him for that are crimes.
Right.
And let them challenge it, because the Democrats may be willing to do that, whereas the Department of Justice under William Barr will not take action.
Well, this is the rub. I wanted to ask you about a few of your tweets. You said the law assumes compliance. Like the mafia, the Trump regime ignores all rules and norms. You talked about tax returns now. You said extortion or bribery is what Trump did if the reports with the call about the Ukraine is true. Whatever argument you make about not indicting a president do not stop investigating tax returns now. Again, this is something just literally unprecedented, is they are not complying with anything that is actually the law. Shall furnish tax returns, right? There is no wiggle room in that. So where does all this go? And again, I ask, does impeachment sort of superpower these legal powers?
I think impeachment does. I want to add, besides the soliciting a bribe or extorting, there is a clear violation of the federal election laws, which say you cannot take anything of value, and clearly Oppo research is something that campaigns pay for, so getting it for free is definitely something of value. And the interesting thing is that they have not appointed new members to the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, and therefore there is not a quorum, and the Election Commission cannot take any actions without a quorum. So it's almost as if they foresaw that they'd be committing election violations and didn't want the FEC to be able to do anything, and so they've let a quorum expire.
Okay.
So we have a lot of other, there's also conspiracy, because which, as you point out, could make him individual number one. If he couldn't be indicted, he could be named individual one.
And we have Chris Murphy saying he met with the president of the Ukraine, who said, and I quote, he was afraid that aid had been cut off to the Ukraine by the president was a consequence of his unwillingness to launch an investigation into the Bidens.
Which makes it a very implicit, if not explicit. Donald Trump may not have spoken the words, I will not give you aid unless you do the following for me. But if the president of Ukraine knew that that was the consequence, that's all it took. And in all the mafia cases, you don't have to say it. And going back to your other point, again, having prosecuted the mafia for a number of years, I know that they just totally ignore the laws. They think they're above them, and they
Lindsey Graham just used the word snitch. The whistleblower. Snitch. I mean, who's going to say snitches get stitches next? I mean, let me ask you why. I never have you long enough because it's never enough. But you say, okay, you're talking. You tweeted about expediting court decisions for releasing the 6E grand jury materials and on clarifying executive privilege, forcing McGahn and others to testify. You said, I know from my Watergate experience, Dems will win. There's no privilege here. So, yeah, what about that? I mean, we're trying to get the whistleblower complaint. We don't even have the grand jury stuff and the unredacted Mueller report yet, do we?
And I think that in terms of future hearings where you have witnesses as hostile as Corey Lewandowski, you need to have all your legal ducks in a row. And so if you have the decision that says there is no executive privilege, then he can't do that, and you have grounds for just hauling him off to jail right away. And we would be better off having the hearings after a ruling on the 6E material, the grand jury material, after a ruling on executive privilege, let's be prepared for the next witness.
Okay.
Let's know how to handle and what the legal options are for, jailing the person on the spot. Have that all prepared so that the Democrats are in control.
Yep.
And show the power that they have.
Last one, real quick. Bill Weld said on TV that this is treason, and the penalty for treason is the death penalty.
Well, yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is. But is it treason not to take action against this?
Yes.
And
well said.
that's my point, is that we who must speak out and say we have to do something. I think we're at a crisis point. And hopefully I think the sort of the atmosphere of it's a turning point. If we are at that inflection point, let's not blow it.
Yep, exactly. We are so long. However, I want to say, go to goodreads.com or jillweinbanks.com because the Watergate girl is coming out.
Woo-hoo!
Jill's memoir, May 2020. Her memoir is coming out. Go and pre-order. This is the most exciting. Next to impeachment this week, that's the most exciting news.
Thank you. Yes, I hope, when I got booked this week for TV, they said, we think this could be the inflection point and that things may be happening on impeachment. And I wrote back saying, if it's what you say it is, I love it.
Especially after Labor Day. All right. Love you, Jill. See you next time. All right. Love her.